Association with boxer Adam Smith. Another night in Liverpool, a decent crowd as well.
Decent crowd, great atmosphere, some fantastic stories, some unfortunate and bizarre endings. But yeah, I mean, it was good. It was great in patches, and then deflating in others. I went to the Merseyside derby earlier with Ben and Dillian, and it was a little bit similar. It was full of frustration, and you walk away with a 0-0 draw, having seen posts hit, crossbars, saves. You thought it could have been a 4-4 draw or whatever, and you walk away 0-0, and my team Liverpool didn't play great, and you're a bit frustrated. And then tonight there was some really great stuff with the British light heavyweight title fight, with Tasha's wonderful performance against a really brave Patricia Burkholdt. That was everything that everything good about boxing. It was fantastic. And then unfortunately you had the Fraser Clark situation and the opponent, and then the sort of disastrous ending to the main event, and you're sort of left flat, and it's a shame. I mean, obviously Liam and Fraser can't be blamed. They move on to bigger and better things, but just a shame. And I think when something like that happens, you've got to be honest and say it wasn't good enough. And Okolie seemed just to have had enough. Having had a good start, it was all very bizarre. And Fraser's opponent, 4 stone lighter, should have even been in there. Fraser was gutted. Friends and family had made the big trip up and spent a lot of money on it, and unfortunately it was very unsatisfactory. However, Ben sat there and said that exactly in the interviews. It's not good enough, and you had to look at it and why it happened, and we go again. And ultimately, it's very difficult to match fighters, especially these elite amateurs, and it's a hard task. And Okolie was not around until the Thursday, and people try to get him here on time. So it's difficult when fighters sometimes go a bit AWOL or don't conform to the script, and unfortunately that's boxing and the unpredictability. But look, Liam gets the win and he moves on, and it was a great atmosphere, and that was really evident in the Tasha Jonas fight.
Just a quick one on Shakan Peters, Dan Aziz. Do you think the scorecards did justice to Shakan's performance?
No, I don't. I thought it was a little unfair on Patricia as well in their fight. Very wide to Tasha. She won the fight, no doubt, but I thought Patricia deserved a little bit more on the cards, and I thought that Shakan Peters did as well. I thought it was a really good fight. I thought Dan Aziz deserved to win. Peters started well, but I think that probably his lack of punch power, and Dan just kept sort of grinding him down. But he came back, Peters, in the last part. I thought he boxed really well, and he might be kicking himself a little bit tomorrow, but he didn't sustain it in the middle rounds. Good uppercuts, good body shots, but just a bit more from Aziz. So I thought it was a really good fight, and both can go on. Dan will look for the Lyndon Arthurs and maybe the Callum Johnsons and the Boatzis in the future, and Craig Richards would be a good fight, I think. But Shakan Peters can come again, no doubt. It was a great both of that fight and the women's fight were fantastic. Great fights, really competitive. You can see the pride and passion at British level, at world level. It was just a shame that the 2 showcase fights really were a bit disappointing. Adams ended quickly, and okay, he's brilliant, but it ended a little bit quick, and Fraser's was very disappointing. And then the main event was, you just wanted a really good fight, and I think Liam was always going to win it, but I think it just was a sad way to finish, wasn't it?
Definitely. A quick word on Adam Azim. I spoke to Shane. Shane reckons he beats anyone at world level now, but he's just missing the experience. Are you guys at Sky slightly tempted to maybe chuck him in maybe within the next 4 fights? Because the world titles at super lightweight are all scattered.
It's a very difficult one, and I think that there's a wider problem here, and that is that the amateurs are so good now that they're elite. They should almost be fighting for British, European and world titles in their first few fights. I think Eddie's found that with Gamal Yafai and Galal rather, and the others, that it's very hard. Fraser's been campaigning for 10 years as an amateur fighting the best, and then you find him an unbeaten guy from Bulgaria who turns up and doesn't do anything, and it's very frustrating. It's hard to match all of these guys, and the girls as well, Caris and Lauren and Caroline, and it's hard. And I mean, I think you can almost pit Caroline and Lauren, Caris, Fraser, maybe not Ben yet, but a lot of these into much harder, higher fights, and it's about getting experience. They need rounds. It's almost like before they fight for a world title, they've got to sort of go rounds. I think the women are going rounds, at least Caroline and Karis
You
and
might be
Lauren.
forced into it, just maybe you might have to do that because it's not easy matching them, and obviously the guys at British level wanting a lot of money, and obviously looking at Adam's talent and even Ben Whittaker's, you know they're good enough to beat most of these guys.
I would throw Adam into something like a Commonwealth title fight within the next 2 fights, something like that, and then maybe we look into the European world scene in 2023. I think it's too soon for him to fight for a world title. He has 13 and a bit rounds of experience. It's not enough. Could he go in and blitz someone? Possibly. He could at any level. We don't know that. But if something doesn't work and it gets tough, he's not going to have that professional experience to go back on, and you almost need those sort of gut checks before you get there. But if Shane's convinced he blows people away even at world level, then maybe we fast track him.
Definitely. And just to wrap up, how much flirting went on with Dillian Whyte today?
I had a good day with Dillian. I get on very well with him. We go back a long way. He's been a great fighter for Sky. We've had wonderful nights with him. Obviously, he went away for the Fury fight, but he may come back. I think he loves Sky, but there's a lot of offers he's got out there, and he's got to look at what's best for him. And whichever way he goes, we'll support Dillian.
What do you think you guys at Sky can give him that he can't give from anywhere else?
We can obviously give him a lot of love, a platform, a plan. I think there's a good plan that we've got ready to offer him, but he'll be offered a lot of money from other places. I'm sure Eddie wants him, and I'm sure Frank does. And he's, despite the loss to Fury, he's a great asset. He's always in entertaining fights, sells the fight brilliantly, and there's so many dance partners he could go in with. So he's in a good position, and he wants to get right back in, and I think he wants to fight end of November and December. I'd love him to fight on Sky, but I'm realistic. We can't have everybody, and if he doesn't end up with us, I'm still going to be championing him, just like I do Anthony Joshua. They're big parts of my life, and I want to see the fighters both coming off defeats, ending up making good money and having a great career. And if we'd like them to be on Sky, and we believe that it's the right home for Dillian, but if he decides to go off, then we'll keep the communication going, and I'm sure you'll find us pitching up at ringside wherever he is. I didn't miss the Fury fight.
How confident are you, percentage-wise, that he could come with Sky?
I don't know. Ben and I have to sit down, and we have to work out what's right. There's a lot of finances involved, and we've got to see what's right for the business. But we're in a good place with Boxer at Top Rank, and the good thing is we don't need to. We've got the business supporting us. We just had a good box office event. We don't need to rush into others. But if we get the right fight and deal with Dillian, that'll be fantastic to have him back on Sky. He's welcome any time to fight on Sky. He knows that, but he's got some decisions to make, and I think he wants to get on with it quickly. So we'll have to wait and see.
Are Dillian's intentions big fights or money?
I think they come with each other. I think big fights generate big money, and like Liam Smith wants big fights, and they're at that stage of their career. They're not spring chickens anymore, and they've given a lot to the sport, and I think they deserve to have those big nights, and we'll be doing everything we can to make sure Liam has those and getting the right opponents for him. And if Dillian joins forces with us again, we'll be doing everything we can to make sure he does. So we've got Joe Parker, a big fight straight away. It's not on Sky as well, it's on BT. If he beats Joe Joyce, then we get the rematch, and there's big fights out there for everyone at the moment, and there's a little bit of sharing going on, and with BT and DAZN have got some crackers coming up, and so do we. So it's happy days for boxing, and long may it continue. But fingers crossed we do something with Dillian. It'll be great to have him back.
Last question, Lawrence Okolie. Last we heard, you guys wanted to make him like the face front of Sky Boxing. It seems to have gone a bit quiet. Any update on the Lawrence Okolie front?
No update. I haven't spoken to Lawrence in a while. I know he was our studio guest a couple of weeks ago in Saudi. I've been away on holiday, so look forward to catching up with him and many others who we'll see where they are contractually, and if they're free and they're keen on coming on Sky. We're keen on getting the best over. And listen, I think we've done a good job in the year we've had with Top Rank. Top Rank have delivered some fantastic fights, and they give us Michaela Mayer next week, and Boxer are providing us some great nights. I think obviously there's some disappointment tonight, and we've got to be honest, and we've got to call it as we see it. And we do, Matt and I, on commentary, and there were some unsatisfactory endings, and you've got to be honest with that. And I think Ben said exactly the same thing. You can't win them all. We had some great success tonight and some disappointment. So we pick ourselves up and we go again. But next week should be an absolute humdinger. Clarissa Shields and Savannah Marshall, which is one of the fights of recent times. Michaela Mayer on the bill in a unification with a very, very fired up Alicia Baumgartner. You've got match from Top Rank coming into a boxer show. It's brilliant, and everyone should be working together to make sure there's as many eyeballs and as much attention on an amazing night for women's sport next week, and we cannot wait for it.
I look forward to it, Adam. Thank you for your honesty, and I look forward to seeing you on Wednesday.
No problem.